uh, underwater, whatever, and can't hear out of my left ear. All weird. And mm, I don't know. I think it's going to heal itself. I'm not that worried about it. Like in a couple of weeks or something, if it's still that way. I don't know if any of you have experienced this, but this before. Uh, I like radio stations, that are not there. Here, one time I heard, my I thought my mom was over there with the computer 2 or 3 years ago. It, it's just weird, you know. Whatever. Well, anyway, like my right ear's fine, but like even when I listen to broadcast, I like put the earpiece because I know that my left. So like when I'm in a call at work and stuff, it sounds like if you're in a metal windy and hear the like the metal flapping or the that's kind of when it's for 5 minutes. Are you kidding me? I haven't been live for 5 minutes, but whatever. Um, anyway, I'm on my live stream, or really live, I guess, but his vlogs or whatever. And this he hasn't been on in a while. Miss him. I miss the peeps. The small channels. You know, goes way beyond the Emmy. What I talk about is he's sleeping right now, but I do have a new boyfriend. Anyway, what's interesting about it is he was um he you know all I did, does the Ford logo look right to you? And he told me right away what was wrong with it. Volkswagen. He told me right away what was wrong with it. He's like, to be connected like that. And, that's pretty cool, you know, because I don't have to try like anybody of, what I see or whatever. It's kind of a cool thing. So that's, but there's some other stuff. I mean, it's super jealous when I get online or whatever. And oh, we don't need to go there. Just, and that happened to me before. Broke up with my previous boyfriend, the one that I knew since I was 6 years old. But anyway, it's been weird, boring, and stuff like that. I can't hear. Um, I hear an antenna picking up this weird crap, you know? I mean, it's just, I don't know. And it's a little bit quiet. Hey, Texas Danny, how are you doing? So, Texas Danny, have you seen any more changes? Because that was like a point of difference for a while, but then some of the changes, and I know Dallas has changed for you as well recently. Tell me what you've seen regarding at least the. And I know one of the things that I'm interested about you is the birds. I've been into it, and actually, I don't see that much difference. And now I do see a little as far as the birds, um, but I see birds here. So shoot, I'm breaking up in the broadcast. Sorry. Yeah, this internet is not the best. Not the best. So when I when I get to like the like data, I'm gonna maybe go online and use my data, and that will be a little bit better. But anyway, as far as the birds go, like here, I see a lot of birds. I see a lot of feathers. Like I collect feathers and stuff. And so, I'm sorry that you don't see any there. I mean, that's interesting to me that you don't see any. But I can definitely give you an invite, Texas Danny, because I don't think you've ever been on my channel before. That would be great. But but anyway, yeah, there's like there's a guy outside my apartment that he just basically stores his stuff in like this pickup or whatever, and they throw out like breadcrumbs for the birds and stuff like that. And I see birds. Um, trying to see what's going on here. Anyway, Texas Danny, you're always welcome, obviously, on my channel. Always appreciate what you have to say. I love your channel as well. We got a huge amount of earth movements. Dallas is moving. I told you that, but see, that's what's so weird. All this stuff is, I saw a lot of this a couple years ago. I mean, when was that video? It was almost exactly 2 years to the day, about Dallas and everything. And it's okay that we see things at different times or whatever, because, I know you didn't see PK did and a couple other people that live in Texas. I mean, the geography changes to me are like way more important, you know, way more important. And geography changes, history changes, of course. The local changes are they're important because what it does is it gets people who maybe wouldn't consider stuff into it, you know. But for instance, like the new boyfriend that I had. I mean, I didn't even have to tell him, about. I said, mechanic, cars, and I said, just about, and he immediately told me. He's like, yeah, the V&W used to be connected. There never used to be a space. He told me that without even me saying a word about it. And that was pretty cool because to always know that, you're dealing with someone who can see the changes, and that was very important. Knowing that I can trust this person because, I didn't even have to bring it up. He brought it up. Let's see, this is moving east, of course, and also, just like Florida looks really weird to me too. Florida looks off. Uh, just looking off to me or whatever. But we moved in different time segments, or it just changed again. I'm getting some kinds of mental space stuff going. It's everybody has that in the Mandela Effect community. But I've had it more than usual, and my left ear. Okay, so sorry about that. You guys, my internet is like really just maybe due my data. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, Florida is changing constantly. I don't know how much time is left for us. Yeah, Florida is. It's constantly just the northern border, especially. I mean, it looks. It doesn't look as long as it once did. And I used to live like by Pensacola, like in Mobile, and it's definitely changed. Yeah, I'm so sorry, you guys, whoever's listening. I see a couple or three people here, but yeah, Florida is definitely always changing, and that northern border look like that. Have like I don't know. I guess I but um, look like that, and my gosh, I haven't been on here for 17 minutes. That's weird. don't know. Maybe I have. Maybe when I go back, it'll be 17 minutes. But yeah, Cuba. Well, I mean, it's so weird how like some things are changing, like larger, like Cuba, the Hudson Bay. Um, it's so bizarre. Yeah, yeah. And then some things are shrinking. Now, what's weird about where we're like is, Colorado, it's just, Colorado and Wyoming are a square state, but what if that changed? I mean, I would definitely notice. I mean, there's no question. However, like some people think Colorado was up on the Canadian border and stuff like that. What? It was never on the Canadian border for me, but I mean, I don't doubt that that's what they saw, you know. Um, I don't know. It's craziness. But yeah, as far as the bird, I see birds here still, but there's there's other changes. I mean, there's mm, I don't really know how to describe it. Now, I haven't seen like anything like move like I fear 1978. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, Esther, I really love the research that you do and stuff. Your size 2 Earth is shrinking. Yeah, yeah, Earth is shrinking for sure. And but you know, what we have is we have each other. We have each other to talk to bounce ideas off of, to know that we're not crazy. That to me is the main, because we have each other. We know that we're not the only ones that see this. The thing for me is that, I mean, I started seeing these changes clear back when in 1982. That there was no oneness. I mean, I thought, am I really? I mean, because I basically had a photographic memory in high school. I mean, I could remember like when I would study history, I would remember stuff on the page, exactly where it was on the page, whether it's the left hand, top, the bottom, whatever. And I was like, there's no way I'm misremembering this, you know? We know that it's changing movie line logos kind of twist because they're just, I think it's important for people who are new, for the movie lines and the logos and stuff. But for us old timers or whatever, it's usually the geography and the history changes that get us because, I mean, you know, however many miles to the east, how can Australia look as effed up as it is, you know? So, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. And then just the science part of it. I mean, people who say it's CERN, I don't necessarily believe that, because the reason I don't is because I saw changes in 1982. So I guess there were particles, and so it could be initial. Yes, see people die more than once is also weird. Example, exactly. I mean, he died for me a long time ago. I remember Michael Douglas coming out on the TV, you know, and and I put Kirk Douglas in one of my videos about that. I mean, I think he did die recently though, right? But yeah, 102 years old or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, and then have branched out. Well, the Gray Lakes have totally changed for me. Yeah. I mean, they're not the same at all. And Michigan, oh my gosh. Michigan looks totally effed up to me. I mean, the Upper Peninsula did not look like that. I'm sorry. It just, for me, it didn't look like that, you know? So the upper UP of Michigan, some like major ones that I've seen that geography stuff. UP of Michigan, Florida, well, Texas for sure. Um, and then of course Baja California, things like that. Um, those are major geography. Well, and then of course Italy and Australia. I mean everybody knows. But I mean there's still even just little things, in the state. Just it looks like a or something. It's just the way it was. I'm getting used to the idea, and I don't really care anymore as far as um, people thinking we're crazy. I don't really care anymore about that. I used to. I was like, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. Now I don't care. I've got like people backing me up. I've got like, you know, um, I don't need any validation anymore. You know. Okay, let's see here. Little forks have branched out. The Great Lakes are getting progressively smaller. That could be true, Danny, about the communication, but then the question becomes who is trying to communicate with us and why? Well, that's good. Like, um, I am still a proponent of the fact that we died on our original Earth. I mean, kind of whatever. I don't think we really die. I think we go into these other worlds or whatever it is for a lesson, maybe, or for maybe it's a holding period, maybe it's whatever. And it's kind of a scary thought, honestly, but in a way it's not because, you know, how did all of us find each other? You know, um, I feel like we found each other because we're meant to find each other, you know. I think we've known each other before somehow. Um, remembering maybe. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I just know that the people that I do, Digi, Patrick, um, Chick, I just feel like we've known each other from before, you know? Does seem set up in some way. I agree with that. Yeah. I do too. I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing, you know? I mean, for some people, it can be really, really scary, and honestly, for me, sometimes I'll go like, I have these attacks every now and then, once every 2 months or something like that, where, like, I can't really function for about 4 days. Um, Danny says, "You think we're on a spaceship?" Well, I've actually he took down original channels, but I actually told him that one time. I said, "I think I'm on a spaceship, and I'm in, like, some kind of pod, and, you know, it's kind of like a hibernation chamber or something like that, you know?" Yeah, totally possible. I think it's totally possible. But okay, I'm gonna put the link in case anyone wants to join. Buster or Danny or anyone else listening, go ahead and join if you want. That would be great. If not, we can just maybe. But yeah, I've thought that too. I mean, whatever that's called, I can't remember. Where they're like, being there's Buster. Hey Buster, how you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, I added you. Let me see if I don't have you muted or anything like that. Can you guys hear Buster at all? Ah, okay, we'll try again. Okay, so Texas Danny's trying to join too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you
You see me?
doing?
Can you see?
Yes.
Can you see me, the old guy?
Yes, I can see you and
How you doing?
you. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm here in Texas,
I'm
where
doing just
our
fine.
coast is changing rapidly. You in Colorado?
Uh-huh.
Is Buster coming in from
Yes.
Canada?
And so
Is Buster 78 coming in?
what tried to come in, but I
Buster
didn't hear him or
1978 is he coming
anything.
in?
So
Okay, I'm gonna keep I've got about a half
hopefully
charge on my
he'll
phone,
try
so
back again.
okay. Gee, I thought I looked better. Sorry.
So,
Well, here we are, wherever we're at.
oh, Danny, you look fine. So,
Uh-huh.
so let me know like what your progression was as far as Texas, because I know you didn't agree with me on my Texas almost 2 years ago, and now it seems like you're coming around to it, right?
No, Rain, I've got a certain observation, and I'm going to keep it broad and general of what I want to say, to be on the careful side here, because there's some weird things going on lately with like blocks and stuff. Maybe it's because of the changes. I don't know what. But Dallas is now moving east, and it seems to want to bobble up a little northeast and a little southeast from time to time. But we're moving. The entire track is moving. Earth is in flux.
Well, it is. And Dallas was that far northeast, and that was the whole point of my video 2 years ago. But I don't honestly think that you saw, because I remember you asked
No, I
change
saw it.
and it didn't.
No, I saw it.
But you didn't see it, right? I mean, you didn't see it at first, and now you do, right?
No. Okay, I never saw it juxtaposed in the position that you suggested, because in the position you would have suggested, to me, Dallas was always 75 miles due south of the Oklahoma Texas state border. Is this Buster? How you doing? And Now the Oklahoma-Texas state border is less defined, and I see the movement of the earth as is happening right now. I just can see it. Hi, from Canada, Lake Simcoe area, roughly, right?
Yeah, for
Is rain
me,
there?
Dallas was oldly northeast of in Texas, and so when I saw that far northeast, that's when I did my video 2 years ago. No one was talking about it, you know, and now people talk about it. Even Dan, but he didn't see it. I don't think about a year to even acknowledge that Dallas had moved, and but there's other stuff too, as far as like like for me the UP of Michigan is really messed up. Hudson Bay
Michigan.
is huge. There's other stuff too. Geography changes are what, because that's something that is like, how can that happen? It's crazy. But I mean, I love it that we all, even if we see it different, I feel like are very supportive, and I don't know. I love this community. I love both of you. Thanks so much for being on my channel.
Well, that's all right. What have you been seeing, Buster? What's your bird's eye view right now? I can let you guys know, but I'm going to keep it general for security reasons here.
Yeah, Buster, go ahead. Tell us what you've been seeing lately. Oh, darn, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear Buster. I see him talking.
Buster, I can see you, but we can't hear you. Danny, can you hear Buster?
I can hear you, Rain. You're just a tad fragmented, but I can see Buster, but I can't hear him at all right now.
Yeah. I can't hear you. He's a little bit frozen. Darn,
Okay.
I really want
Hey,
Buster on here
bring up
too.
one thing. Hey, if I can say, if Buster can still hear, we had a conversation about Krypton. Okay. If you get this, Buster, that's important right now. It's important. Superman, all that stuff. Oh, are you there, Rain?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is.
There we go.
Now,
yeah, what I was saying about excellent. What you guys were saying about Texas. When I look at the map on Texas, for me, it just looks like it's way too far east. Like for me, I remember Arizona and New Mexico being slightly narrower, and Texas being further west.
Yeah, right? We are moving. Yeah. The whole Earth is moving.
Yeah.
The whole thing, everything is moving.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Buster, tell us what other geography changes. Tell us what other geography changes you've seen.
Nothing too out of the ordinary. Just a lot of the stuff that people have been mentioning over the past while. Like, see, where was it? Just looking at my map right now. Like for me, New Zealand. I keep seeing New Zealand just keep moving. Seems like it's moving further east. It looks like it's even further away from Australia now that I used to remember it.
Well, and also for me, New Zealand is like more north-south than it used to be. It used to be more east-west.
Yeah, it seems like it's rotating. It seems like it's rotating clockwise. Like it used to. Like you're right. It used to be almost north and south, right? Like almost like that. But now it's just kind of like that almost.
I agree there. Can I make a suggestion to both you guys?
Sure.
Okay, Here it goes. This is going to put it in a nutshell. If you guys just listen up and get one thing on this, and I'll give it to you. That's what's going on, buddy. If rain, that's what's happening right now.
Well, one of the reasons that I know about New Zealand is because my sister and my brother-in-law lived there for a year. And so when Digi says that Christchurch moved, it did for me too, because it did used to be on the northern part of New Zealand for me when I first looked at it there for a year, and now it's on the southern part. And so like I totally agree with him on that. And so I don't know, did either one of you see that or agree with that or know where Christchurch used to be in relation to where it is now?
I'm just looking at the map now. It does seem a little bit further south. I kind of remember it being not on the northern tip, but more or less in the middle.
Okay.
Well,
Buster?
to me, it was in the northern middle. It was in the northern middle. And now it's in the southern middle. And so, you know, that's when I first looked at it, because my sister was there when they had, like, I don't know, was it a volcano or an earthquake or something like that? I can't remember exactly what, but she lived there for a year. They worked there for a year.
Yeah, I think
And
it was
so I was paying attention to, you know, New Zealand geography. And Christchurch totally moved for me as well. I mean, I 100% agree with digital intel on that.
It definitely has. Buster, have you got are you on Google Earth or do you have a hard atlas? What do you have?
Yeah, I'm just using Google Maps here in the background.
Okay, do you see that great big huge kind of rotund peninsula, breakup island peninsula that's just to the off of Christchurch?
Yes.
Okay, in my progression of observations in this last couple of years, that appeared, okay, in time, in sequence, as did the Hainan Island off of China, okay? Now I am seeing in fluctuations, in fragments, the involvement of movement of the Earth, and I now see what the pattern is. It's a done deal, everybody. It's a mathematical formula with a variance of about 26 or 27%. It's complete.
Really?
It is. Yeah.
So you're basically saying that this is a progression towards something?
Yeah. If you take a look at New Zealand, Australia, the entire Asian place, look at the Tibet's coming off into the Yunnan province. We're in a retraction mode right now. It's amazing.
So do you have any expectations as to where you think this is headed?
No, I just was rain there. See?
Yes, I was just asking, do you feel like the Earth is getting progressively smaller and maybe going even towards Pangea?
No, we've got our central core active. I don't know if you guys look at my videos or anything like that. I do a kind of a crazy briefing, and we're in full traction mode. You guys, in my opinion, I don't want to say we're on the Death Star or something like that, but there's something freaky going on that's beyond this, what's in here.
Yeah. I totally agree that there's probably more to what's going on than just what we're able to track with, you know, just these changes and these differences and, you know, the stuff that's already out there. I think that, like what you said, there's probably more going on with that.
But what is that, Buster? What are your opinions? I mean, I know you have like a lot of research skills on, and some of that stuff I researched myself as well. I know exactly, you know, what everything you've brought to the table, and I'm so grateful for all that as well. But I mean, what do you think is going on? I mean, do you feel like, you know, that we've gone to different Earths? Do you feel like there's one Earth that's just changing? What is your opinion?
My opinion is that there's probably more than one Earth, and that's just based on like A lot of the articles that I've read recently where they keep finding evidence of parallel realities or like the quantum effect, because there's been this whole push
Right.
for being everything quantum. You know, if you look quantum in the news or all of these scientific breakthroughs where they're talking about quantum computers and all this other stuff, that's really a big thing. So I think that even that there was an article last summer where they were trying to make contact with a parallel reality. I think it was. It was all over the news last summer. But I do think that's probably a possibility that parallel realities do exist, and there is a possibility that we could be experiencing them.
So, but how do we? I agree, totally. But how do we move, or how do we?
I don't think
go?
I don't think it's we moving. I think it's our consciousness is either coalescing or there's some kind of timeline thing where we're interacting with another version, right? Like if you think that everything is consciousness, right, or our experiences, our senses, is basically what you perceive the reality to be, right? And that's not physical. That's a non-physical thing. So if you're a non-physical consciousness, why can't you experience reality that's not native to you? Seems like it's a plausible idea, right?
Yes. I don't know if we're like moving to different Earths, or we're just experiencing different realities.
I think the idea of our physically moving, I think, is perhaps maybe missing the point a little bit. I think just being able to experience it, like your consciousness, I believe that your consciousness can basically transcend time space, right? And I think that's possibly a possibility.
So, for instance, I don't even know how to put this into words, really. So do you think that we're not moving? We're just experiencing, like, like in our perception, in our brain, different realities or different Earths?
Well, I think, like, for an example, like think of, like I said, the quantum, right? So think of superposition, right? Like say you're going to flip a coin. Is it heads or is it tails or is it both? So if there's a parallel reality and they're all sort of interconnected somehow, there has to be some kind of correlation between something you did or something you had experienced and an alternate version of that. So that's basically what we're remembering. I'm remembering a reality that never existed in this physical space. Does that mean it didn't happen, or does that just mean it didn't happen here?
Exactly. And that's what I think. I think it happened. It just didn't happen where we are right now.
Right. Like, so what you said. So Kirk Douglas,
Danny.
right? So you were saying that you remember Kirk Douglas dying years ago. I remember him dying years ago. And I kept saying that. I said, this guy died. I remember him dying. Right. And then he died not too long ago. So when did he die? Did he die when I remembered him the first dying? Or did he just die like a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it
was? Can I make a suggestion about Kirk Douglas?
Sure.
Okay, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. What does it put in your mind?
I'm not familiar with that.
Didn't see the movie 20,000 Leagues. Okay, it's a very famous Kirk Douglas movie from the 1950s. I saw it as a kid in the early 1970s. It's about an incredible journey under 20,000 leagues under the sea. I'm going to suggest, at least in a broad scope, that we're in a communication process, that we are deliberately having a communication channel to us to get us aware of a situation that we're at right now. And I definitely believe that there's a possibility that we're in some kind of deep stasis.
Like I said, I can't rule that out. I mean, that's also a possibility, right?
Possibility. I mean, everything goes.
I think part of the issue too is that even if we do come up with a plausible theory, we've got no way of proving it.
Very true.
So we can only make progress up to a certain point. We can only come up with so many theories and ideas, and they might all be valid, but we've got no way of actually testing them.
Yeah, that's the hard part for me. I mean, I have a scientific background, and that's the hard part for me, is there's just no way of proving any of this, you know? And it's just, how do we keep moving along with each other, but then also seeing different of each other as well? Because, like, you know, people say that I'm different in some scenarios. I've seen like other Mandela affected channels that are different, or channel name changes, things
Channel
like
name
that.
changes. Yeah, a lot of people, that comes up quite often. Yeah. Or people's name will
I know,
change.
because people think that I'm like the plane instead of Rain on the Plains, you know? And, or, you know, like for me, I've seen, oh gosh, who was it? Well, Jenspiration. Dan from Scare Performance, he saw it too. She went from 2 ends to 1 end. But he saw it before I did, you know? And so he's like, "Oh, you're a 2 end Jenspiration person too?" And I'm like, "Yeah." You know, and then also, oh shoot, who is it? I can't think right now. I did a video on him.
Is it Robin?
But who's that?
Was it Robin Neely?
Well, Robin
Robin.
Keneally is yeah, definitely another one too. She had a K in her name, and she keeps saying, "Oh, Dan just did that as a joke or whatever." No, I remember it with a K, you know?
Communication.
And so, you know, her, and then there's lots of other ones. Well, Mandela Affected, his channel used to be E affected rather than A affected, you know? And then also, I don't know, there's just been tons. And then, like, even during a live stream one time, I saw Corey Jade, you know, which you guys might not know her. She's from Australia as well. But anyway, you know, how AI doesn't like hyphens. And then all of a sudden, her name had a hyphen in it. Corey Jade, instead of just Corey Jade. And she's like, "Oh my God, I can't even believe this." I mean, that happened live during a live stream on Martha's channel, if you know who she is. But anyway, it's just, you know, things like that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's enough to drive you batty, but at least we have each other, because we know I'm crazy, and you know, we can have ideas to bounce off of each other about, you know, how it's happening and what's happening. And I honestly, I do believe in everything quantum. I just don't think it's CERN though, because I know that for me, unless it's retro causality, I saw effects in 1982. And so, like, you know, there were particle colliders then, but CERN wasn't there, you know?
Right.
And so,
to that point,
why did that happen? Why did this
to that point,
go to?
Lorraine, sorry to interrupt, but to that point, I mean, we have to understand, though, even though there might not have been colliders in this physical reality, there might have been colliders in another reality at that time. And
Exactly.
like I said, if there's some kind of interaction between one reality and another, what they do could affect what happens here.
Well, even before any of us were born, there could have been events that took place during World War II, or any of the things that you heard of took place in the late 30s or during World War II and that kind of thing like that. We don't know what happened in history. I know physically I'm like some different version. I'm me, but I'm a different version. However, I happened, and we're still traveling in that direction. So something could have happened well before we were even born. Very definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, And the thing is like, you know, how do you explain things like just in looking at your own life or whatever, a different version of yourself? Because I used to hate to cook. I honestly hated it. I couldn't stand cooking, whatever. Now I love it. I mean, and so like just little details like it's like why is there all of a sudden why did all of a sudden I like to cook? I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, it seems like a stupid detail, but it's really not because you know either we've changed into different realities of ourselves or whatever or different versions or whatever. I don't know, but there was no way. I mean, I hated cooking and now I love it. I don't know, people do change, whatever. I mean, just but I'm just saying that as an example. I mean, have you guys experienced anything where you were like a total opposite, where you hated something and now you like it, or vice versa, or whatever?
Not for me personally. I mean, everyone changes as they get older, but I think for me, I'm pretty much, as far as I can remember, that I'm the same person that I've always been, at least, at my core. What about you, Danny?
I've got some incredible things that have happened now. Remember, I've got some issues in here all the way around, morally, spiritually, intellectually, everything. But there are some very, very bizarre things that happened to me prior, okay, to my June 2016 jump, which I think factor. And of course, there's a tumbling around in the mind there about the sequences, and I'm having some strange mental blocks lately, and I think that has to go with everything that's going on in these rearrangements, shifts, changes, whatever. But we are extremely busy right now. We just changed again.
Yeah, I can't even keep up with all the changes anymore. Like it's just I have to like just, turn it off for a while because you could literally get consumed by it. Every week there's something new that comes out and you could spend so much time trying to do research on it and trying to find out what's changed, trying to find residue on it and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it could literally could consume you.
It's good you're still here and Rain's here, though. I mean, you guys are still with it, and that's great. That's what counts.
Yeah, it's not something that I would wish upon anyone for sure, guaranteed.
And the thing is that I think, all of us realize that time, or at least I do, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, I'm going to just speak for myself here only, is that I don't think time is linear anymore. I don't think it's linear. And I think it's convoluted. It used to be, in our old Earth with the yellow sun, with the puffy clouds that, we only had 5 cloud names, back on the whatever Sagittarius Earth, and now there's like 10 or 12 or whatever the heck there is. I mean, it's just, and the moon. I mean, there was never a Cheshire cat moon, and now there is. I don't know. I just
Everything
go
suggests
ahead.
navigation, technology, and a sublime intelligence vastly beyond our own as we recognize it now. But what could be for us 3.6 years could be 3.6 seconds in some other context. There's a possibility of, and this goes across the board because I don't settle on just one thing, but there's a possibility that we are in some kind of stasis and we're being woke up. I believe that's an option. That's one option.
So are we
Yeah, I
dreaming
mean,
this?
there's just so many
Is
things
that
to
what you're
consider.
saying?
Well, it's like Buster was about. It's like one of the movies where they put you in deep cryostasis, like when you space travel or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's interesting. All the movies that have been coming out in the last few years that I have watched, well, I've been able to watch, have suggested some things that are applicable to our exact situation. It's really amazing.
Well, I felt like that. I felt like we're in like some kind of pod or coma, whatever, and we're just kind of dreaming this. I mean, who knows? I don't really know. I mean, I don't think any of us do, but for some reason, why are we all connecting with each other? Why do we,
Well,
you know, I mean, thank God.
I think partly it has to do with our instincts, right? I mean, instinctively, we can't just sort of ignore it, right? I mean, some people can, but we can't for whatever reason it is. And
Yeah,
with
we're
that
obsessed with it.
instinct, we're kind of driven to find other people who are having similar experiences and sort of, connect with them.
Exactly. And there's something about us that we can't give it up. We're just either inquisitive souls, whatever it is, but there's something about us that we just can't give up searching for.
Well, Rain, you're in a good position, at least on one issue, and that you have a relationship of someone who's close to you, that you have an interpersonal relationship with now, and Buster may as well. I don't really. My concern, my worry is when I interact with other human beings, as like I do with my environment, with the absence of several things missing from nature right now, certain human reactions are nominal. They're minimized. It's like some people have no ability to go outside of a program or something like that, like a story that's been written for them, and they're on that linear track and they can't be moved off it.
Yeah, very very rigid in their behavior.
I am really lucky because so many people who are, it's crazy, honestly. It didn't used to be like this, but when I moved here to Grand Junction, like there's several people that I work with. I mean, like, one girl's talking about the Berenstain Bears. This other girl is saying like Disney, she's saying it was definitely mirror, mirror on the wall, and she's like going crazy over it. Talk to them about it. I can't really get beyond the next level with them, but they see it, and then like I've said, my current boyfriend, he sees like the Ford, he knows that Curly Q wasn't there. He knows that VW was connected because he was a mechanic, and so it's just I'm very lucky to. And then I woke up like 8 or 10 people one night, I mean, I'm actually very lucky in where I am now. I don't know if it's this place, I don't know what it is. I'm very lucky to have a lot of enemy people around me, and even though they may not even want to always talk about it or whatever, it's still really cool, that because all of you got, and it didn't used to be that way until I moved here. And I don't know if it's this place, I don't know what it is, but it is kind of cool that I'm around so many ME affected people.
That's good.
Well, I listened to the show that you had with both your sons. I listened to both of those. I did very expensive experiments, everybody, with Rain, Buster. When after a while after I jumped to see what human conditions were, very expensive, and I got a kind of a narrative storyline base plate on the people around us. This factors in. Now, it doesn't mean I'm correct about my assumptions, and there are a lot of factors in all this, but I'm trying to still to this very day sum up everything. But I'm looking at Orion in the sky, I'm looking at the moon do its thing, and I think we're on a pivot to somewhere. This is what's going in my mind.
Yeah, like you were saying, there's just so many factors involved where we have to try to figure out not only what is going on, but where is it headed, right? So I mean, we're talking about, the sun used to be yellow. I remember having 9 billion people on the planet, but now it's only like 7.6 or something like that. So geography is completely different. I mean, there's so many things to try to think of what's changed, what's it changed to, and where is it heading, and why.
Buster, you said 9 billion on your Earth, right? Okay, do you see that as a physically larger Earth still than perhaps where I was?
It was bigger.
No, I mean, you may have been on one that was even larger. I mean, See, we had just over 7 billion. We didn't have 9, but other people have referenced this, and I'm wondering. I want to correlate the size differences to see how those change, or the information we all have in here about our past life. That it adds up. 9 billion's a lot.
Oh yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. I remember reading news articles where they were saying, okay, there's going to be a shortage of food, and kind of it never happened. But thinking back now, it's like, did it happen in a shift somewhere, or it's all these things you should have to try to work out. So.
Texas Danny, thank you so much for saying that about my son's interviews, because honestly, those were the interviews I've ever done. And it was weird because, both of them kind of got the download as we were speaking online live. And because I know my older, he's, oh my goodness, he totally got the download live, because he was investigating the Mandela Effect with the Sinbad movie, and then he said he changed it up. He's like, well, Mom, just 30 minutes ago I realized that it was the older Sinbad movies or whatever that I was investigating. I'm like, no, that's not what it was. No. And so, but I mean, he admitted that they see effects, both of them. But those were really good interviews, and thank you for listening, and thank you for mentioning that, because those are the 2 videos that I'm most proud of, is with the ones with my sons, because even though they kind of got the download over air, it was significant to me, because they did admit that they're both mentally affected, but they also got the download. You could see it, and everybody could kind of see who I was as a mom and whatever, and sons. So thank you for mentioning that, because those were very significant interviews for me.
I don't know if we lost it.
No, I think she's
get a little static there. Okay.
Thank you for that.
That's all right. Buster's in Canada. You're in Colorado. I'm in Texas. Okay. What I want to line up here, and I kind of want to share this.
Wait a minute. Buster, you're in Colorado too?
No, I'm in Canada.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't it Canada?
Oh, yes, you're in Canada. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're in Canada.
Okay.
Not far from Toronto.
Well, you're in that huge population. That concerns me from what I'm seeing with the Great Lakes. Okay, and I'm not saying I can see things absolutely in a packed fashion here, but that population all the way up to what is it, Newfoundland? Well, what is that up there? That joined not just a few months ago. The part of Canada up there got in closer, and I could tell those water levels are going down because those 2 areas joined. I'm seeing Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket Island coming up on Massachusetts. I'm seeing that. I'm just worried about that population area that you're in, because that's a huge swath all the way down through the Great Lakes.
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly what's going on there. I mean, with the whole Great Lakes, what you were saying, I mean, they totally do look different for me. Lake Erie looks completely wrong. It's got a whole bunch of peninsulas on there that I don't remember ever being there. Plus, there's also a small lake between Lake Erie and Lake Huron, which I don't remember that being there, right by Detroit. That never used to be there for me. So, I mean, there's all these things that you could pick apart, saying, this has changed to that, but I mean, who knows what's gonna happen next? So, I mean, is it concerning? Yeah, I'm concerned about it, but I can't do anything about it. So,
same here. Except I'm trying to think out what is saying knock 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 in here. That's what I think is going on most of all. Pay attention. Pay attention. Something's getting our attention. My opinion. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's he back there. Rain it up.
Why do you think that we were? I mean, do you think we were quote unquote allowed to find each other? Do you think we just did? Do you think we?
I think we did, because I mean, let's just assume for a minute that, okay, let's just go with the idea that we're not originally from here, just as a possibility. Okay, if we're not originally from here, maybe we're operating on a different vibrational frequency, and if we're all on a different frequency because we're from somewhere else, there's a good possibility that we don't kind of jive with the frequency here. And maybe that's how we're just sort of unable to kind of coalesce and come together and be able to find each other. That's just an idea. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
How do you both see life?
Totally plausible. Totally plausible, because we don't get other people, we get each other. And so yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
Can I ask how you both see light right now?
See light?
Yes, how do you see light?
I remember seeing one of your videos where you were talking about the color shift. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I indoors, like I'm in a small apartment. I'm fine indoors and stuff like that. But see, I see light very, very differently than what I used to on my old reality, my old Earth, right? Things essentially like if I look at car headlights, it's like they're spraying and they're sparkling lights out. It's like if you could put a faint, a low glow effort on sparklers out of a headlight. And I also see the intersection traffic lights, which are different from here in this reality, with disc and glowing foggy stuff. It's hard. I'm kind of agoraphobic because it's hard for me to go out into the environment with this light as it is right now. So I just was wondering what anybody else's experience is when they encounter light outside.
I haven't noticed any abnormalities per se. I mean, I think that maybe each of us probably has some different kind of talent, or at least some kind of different kind of ability to pick up on certain things. Like certain people might get the ringing in the ears or see things and stuff.
I'm hearing some static there.
Rain, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. My internet.
Oh, no, there she is.
It's not that great. I'm starting on with that. Do you hear me?
Hello, Helen.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I see you. I see the Frosty. Helen the Stargazer is in there. Super Peepers. Let me just say, Super Peepers time, Helen. Go with it. Okay.
Yeah. I love Helen, and I love Floyd and Raleigh and Miss Amy are in the chat as well. And let's see who else is. Jennifer M. Thanks all for being here. I appreciate it. And yeah, we're just talking about all the weirdness that is our life, all the strangeness that we see, all the I don't even know how to describe it.
Now you guys both help me because I've both seen both your stuff.
So
Buster's comments are your shows, Rain, and Buster's done a piece here and there. And anybody, I can't see the chat, so hello to everybody. But this is very. I mean, we have each other to communicate with. We people can think we're freaks, or we are what we are, but we have each other. And communication to me is the biggest thing. Everybody, that is paramount. Communication is everything right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we lose.
Maybe your internet's acting up again. Oh, I think we lost her.
Why is that? What did we do? Did we lose Rain? She's got to be
Yeah,
there.
I'm trying to get back on.
When she first started the broadcast, there was a little stream interruption when I was listening in and everything. So there may have been some problems. There she goes. Here we go.
Oh, she's back.
Sorry about that, you guys. It just, my internet went out for a little bit. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for yay. Yeah. But yeah, it's just we're trying to figure all this stuff out. We can do it together. I don't know. Buster, I want to hear some more of your opinions on, because research, QA, more about that.
Yep. Yeah. Anything in particular, or? Rain?
I mean, just anything. I mean, yeah, just, I mean, anything really. I just know that you've done, because I've listened to their broadcasts, and of course I love Chick and SMQ. But I mean, just tell us a little bit about just like what stands out the most to you about the research you've done lately.
So one of the things that kind of I think over at the SMQ show that kind of caught us all off guard was when the government contractor kind of was guiding us to look at the UFO phenomenon. And he basically said that there was some kind of correlation between the Mandela effect and the UFOs. And it was something that we kind of never really considered, because we figured, how could those two things possibly be related? And
absolutely,
he kind of gave us, pointed us in the right direction for me to kind of do a bit of research on it and kind of just, show us that there's a possibility that, the UFO phenomenon and all these unidentified things flying around are somehow related to what's going on with the Mandela effect. So I thought that was really kind of, taking the Mandela effect to another level. That really, you've got these two things here that are seemingly unrelated, but what you have to look at the possibilities. What if they are related, and if so, then what?
absolutely.
How does that affect what's going on? So that was one of the things that I found really kind of you look at all the things that Mandela effect is, and you your residue, and you got your research, and quantum science, and you got all this stuff. But then you take a look at the other unexplained stuff, and you think, well, what if this is related to that? You start thinking in ways that you really haven't thought of before, and that's really kind of, it was really eye-opening.
How do you think that might be related to what we're experiencing? I mean, because I have mixed feelings about it. I am definitely open to other entities, I guess you would want to say it that way, and what's going on. But how do you personally think that it might be related?
Well, one of the things that was kind of conveyed to us is that there's a possibility that the UFOs, because I also read an article too that suggested this as well, that said, what if UFOs are actually us from the future? Right? So now you're thinking, okay, with time, you were saying before, Rain, that you think time isn't linear, right? So if we go with the idea that time is not linear, and we have all these unexplained sightings, what about examining the possibility if these UFOs are us from the future, or some other, being from the
Right.
future? And if they're doing time travel, maybe there's a possibility that's affecting, what's happening in our reality to some degree, right?
Exactly. I totally
Everything
agree.
that's happening right now.
Well, like even just the movie Interstellar, like it kind of put it into like a picture for me as far as like, how time might not be linear, and how I don't it's just a movie, but it illustrates how time might not be linear, and how we could be experiencing this in a time loop, or a time I don't even know how to describe what I'm wanting to say, but I know you get what I mean.
Yeah. I mean,
The Ford symbol suggests that absolutely as a signature is a pronounced symbol for suggesting a time loop. It's like almost like giving us a letter to read at that time. So is the Volkswagen symbol.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody, to me,
Okay.
that suggests we got a loop of time right now with that F symbol, the Ford and the the Volkswagen symbol suggest engineering and an activity, like kind of giving you an extremely simple mathematical formula and a schematic and saying, observe this. That's what seems to be what's going on. It's a mental template for a signature resonation with us to observe these phenomena. It's like drawing our attention.
Well, and how does, like, if you go back to the double slit experiment and all that, and where they put the camera on it and it changed to what they expected when the camera or whatever was on it, how does that affect what's going on right now? Because, like, so just because it was observed, it behaved as expected, and when it's not observed, like, or whatever, but there's still, like, a second set of eyes or whatever, there's still the you know how and why. Okay, and in relation to all that as well, how do we as Mandela affected people, mostly, not all, but mostly, see the same things? We might see it at different times or whatever, but how do we see the same things?
Well, I'm not sure necessarily that we're all seeing the same things. I would say that we're seeing similar things, but even amongst the Mandela effect, we can even have disagreements on certain Mandela effects, or certain Mandela effects might
Oh,
not all
definitely.
affect us in the same ways. So I don't know if we're experiencing all the same things. A lot of research has been done lately too that suggests that reality itself might actually be more subjective than objective.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm seeing that more and more all the time, that it is more subjective than objective. And, most people in our real life, that it is objective linear time, and it's not. And so, but why are we allowed to see that difference or that change or whatever? And they can only see, like, a solid, concrete, linear,
I,
nothing out of
I
the
think
ordinary type of life.
I think it has to do partly with progression, right? I mean, everyone's at a different stage of progression for where they're at. I mean, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and intellectually, everyone's at a different level. And to treat everyone in the same way wouldn't be a good thing. So perhaps people like us might be here, and somebody like them might be over here. So they're at a different spot. And it's not about being better or worse or smarter or whatever. It's just about being at a different stage, right? That
Mhm.
could be an explanation. You know, we see things a certain way, but other people don't see it that way.
Right. I don't know. I mean, like even for me, I mean, how come I saw stuff in the 80s though? See, I keep coming back to like when I tried to commit suicide, did we somehow die at some point? And because why did I see changes like right after I tried to commit suicide when I was 14 years old in 1982? You know, I mean, it's just, you know, I don't want to scare anybody off this channel or whatever, but I'm
It,
just saying that that is exactly when I started seeing changes. And why would that have happened? Unless I was just able to, like, I was so done with like the real world, I guess, maybe, and that I was open to perceiving all these things rather than like quote unquote dying. I
I
don't know.
will say that there is some kind of correlation between death and the Mandela effect. You can take that however you want, but like you were saying before with Kirk Douglas, or it seems to be that people who've had near-death experiences, seem to be Mandela affected, or at least have some kind of experience, either being close to death or whatever.
Yeah, I did. I could have dropped dead in late 2015 or early 2016, somewhere in there. I wouldn't have doubted at all. And if we exist in the multiverse and somehow our soul, our consciousness, our mind is able to jump from point to point, then we were already there to see that extra web of our
Yeah.
consciousness or something like that. So
Um,
it was instantaneous.
Yeah, there's something out there called biocentrism, and that's the idea that your consciousness never dies. Once your physical body dies, your consciousness gets transferred to another place that's basically as close as possible it could be to the place that you were already at. And that sounds a lot like the man.
It works. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm getting a double feedback on. I can hear like when Buster says, but then something follows up. It's like we're getting some kind of squawk or something back there. I don't know. It's like if someone else is on talking, or
I'm sorry, I don't know. My internet's really bad, so that's probably what it is. I apologize, you guys, but I mean,
you're
I can
really
hear
good.
both
That's what
of you.
helps.
Fine, I can too. But you guys, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna be gone a minute, okay? I'll be right back.
All
Sure.
right, Buster, you got a moment? I want to talk to you real quick. You remember our conversation sometime back, right?
Yes. Yes.
If it was the same us who had the conversation, and this was. Yeah, and I just kind of want to make a mental suggestion, kind of a picture in your mind, because you use Buster 1978 as your handle, right? I don't know if that's the year you were born. That's the year I graduated high school and I saw Superman. Okay, that movie Superman, the original Christopher Reeves, whose
Yeah.
name changed
With the S.
yes,
With the
oh,
S.
okay. If you recall the Krypton scene, right? When of course, it was filmed in England at, I think the Pinewood Studios in My Reality or whatever else like that. And they used the sets that they closed in. There's kind of a great ice cathedrals civilization or something like that. Do you recall that from the movies? Do you have that image in your mind?
I mean, I think I only saw that movie once, and it was like I was fairly young, but I only remember parts of the movie. So
Well, if you care to do so, if you get a chance to pull it up, or anybody else, at the beginning of the movie, it focuses on an approach to the planet Krypton, right? With this great ice cathedral type civilizations, very sophisticated civilization, very smart, used crystalline technology. Okay, crystals were an absolute part of their amazing technology. Now, when I think of crystals, I also think of the South Pole or Antarctica, which is now deciding to turn into Maui or something like that, whatever it's doing right now. It's doing it rapidly.
Yes.
So this has got my attention quite a bit because that seems to be a primary focus, a kind of a key indicator, at least to my mind right now, about Antarctica and our situation. It's like Antarctica is the big piece of cake right up there on top, getting ready to be sliced. So if you got any thoughts, I'll like anybody, I would love to hear it on Antarctica.
Antarctica. I would really like to know what's underneath all of that ice, because I mean, I'm sure there's probably some interesting things down there. To say what exactly is there, I probably be my best guess, just like yours. But I would say that there's probably something very important there for sure. I know a lot of the large.
Everything's
No problem. I know a lot of the huge chunks of ice just keep breaking off there, and I remember I think the last time we spoke, I think it was on Chick Stream or something like that a while ago. I remember you asked me if it looked different, and it looked completely different. The whole left side of it just basically disappeared. And I know it's a focal point. I know that much, but beyond that, I don't know for certain.
Okay, there's part of me that's got of a smarmy part of my character, so I'd apologize to everybody about that. But it's like the thing with me seeing light weird, okay? And it's like the breadcrumbs are being laid out, but it's all too convenient for me to see. So that's kind of a weird deal right there, right? But it's like somebody who's going, okay, take a look at this and take a look at that. What do you think? And I see it. And what's taking place with Antarctica and this whole situation is amazing. I've got conclusions, but I'd love anybody else to chime in on this because we got to hear everything from everybody on this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I think we should keep an eye on for sure. Because I mean, I don't think the changes are done yet. I think this is an ongoing process for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Rain, are you back?
Yeah, I see your logo, but I also keep on hearing like another conversation. I hear you fine, but it follows up right behind you.
Maybe your internet's acting up again.
Okay, there she is. All right, you heard me.
It's bad right now. I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fucking weird.
All right. So, darn it. I think I'm going to have to end because my internet's not that great right now.
I guess there we go. All right. Well,
you're looking great, Buster. And I appreciate everything. I'm looking forward to anything you do, anything Rain does. One last little speechy thing. Everybody kick in together. We got all the human personalities. We can all be freaks, but let's be freaks together. Everybody doesn't have to have the exact same opinion or the exact same theory. But if it wasn't for everybody else out there, I would be nuts. I if I mean, at least I'm among freaks. I'm not just a freak. No offense to anybody.
yeah, definitely. It's I think having the whole group atmosphere, I think, just helps people in general. So I think that's definitely something that we should be appreciative for anyone who does these types of videos or these types of live streams. So Rain, thanks for doing your live stream. I think she's trying to talk, but I think her internet's still acting up. So
okay.
In any case,
well, I will say goodbye then, and I will say good night, Buster. You look great. Thank you for what I do get to see and Rain. Anybody and everybody who's affected, you are my brothers and sisters. I am a screwed up individual, but let's be honest with each other. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make sure that door that's painted red is painted black. Texas Danny out. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
Oh, damn it. That's